Welcome to Houston Life. I'm Jennifer Broom.
And I'm Derek Shore. Happy Monday, everyone. Now, this time of year is known as the cuffing season.
What?
Yeah, what's that? Like handcuffs? The weather's getting cooler. People are looking to start new relationships or maybe commit to the ones they're already in. But how do you navigate it all?
Oh, like, wow, you're going to relationship means handcuffs. Oh,
yeah, like
man.
you handcuff yourself. To the person. Yeah.
So what should you know about your partner before popping the question? Our first guests are here to help us avoid holiday heartbreak. Welcome certified sex therapist. If I could talk this morning or afternoon, it'd be great. We have certified sex therapist Emily deAyala and marriage and family therapist Dr. Viviana Coles. Ladies, thank you for joining us.
And welcome back to Houston Life. We love these awkward conversations about love and romance. So why don't we jump right into it? Holiday time, it seems like there's even more pressure when it comes to relationships and when you may be taking a romantic partner home.
Right.
So my first question for you is, let's say you started dating someone a month ago. Too soon to take him or her home for the holidays?
I don't necessarily think so. I think it kind of depends on your family. So if your family is one that it's kind of a big deal or it's really important the first time you bring someone home, then maybe wait till next Christmas or till the next holiday. But like in my family, it was never a big deal. Anyone was welcome. And so I think you just have to take into consideration your family dynamic.
Or if you know that your family is expecting a lot of alone time with you, having that +1 might take away from that. That could feel a little bit like they're intruding. But otherwise, if it's kind of the more the merrier, you know that about your family, bring whoever it is.
Yeah. Okay, but what if I'm going home and I just need to take somebody to get my family off my back about my dating situation?
Well,
There's that.
Yeah, that happens very often.
People do that?
Make sure that the person that you're taking knows that, because y'all don't want to be telling Aunt Susie this and your mom something else. Hey, let them know we just met a few months ago. We're checking things out. We want to travel together over the holidays.
Right. No, wait a minute. But JB, are you talking about people who would specifically lie to their family? Like
just to get
if I took you home for the holiday and I said, "Hey, meet my
Yay!
new girlfriend, Jennifer Broom. We're so happy together, about to get married." People actually lie about that stuff?
I mean, I hope that they wouldn't. I think neither of us would really condone lying.
We wouldn't want them to do that.
But, sometimes the holidays may call for a little bending to an extent.
Just to
In other words,
satisfy your
the
family.
little white lie.
That's a pretty massive white
Again,
lie.
it's more about the expectations.
Right.
They think that their family will get off of their backs if they bring somebody home and say, "I'm in a stable relationship, leave me alone."
I always tell people, though, own your status. If you're single, talk about some of the perks of being single and, the fact that you can go travel on a whim or stay out late or whatever. And own your status. I think the more confidently you talk about your status, the less pressure people will put on you.
What about the big one of, and you guys know it happens all the time, somebody popping the question, but you don't want to say yes.
Oh.
Well, I would say,
Cringeworthy.
So
I would
bad.
say if you're in front of people and it's something that you think is a little bit more public than normal.
Like
I would
maybe in
say,
front of the Christmas tree, or maybe at the mall with everyone videotaping you, and then you decide to propose.
I think you should say yes. If you want to continue the relationship, maybe not engage, but if you want to continue the relationship, say yes. Because if you say no, chances are the relationship isn't going to stand it.
What about just like faking passing out, though? What about
partner in front of everyone?
What about just like faking passing out, or oh no, gotta run to the bathroom really quickly because if you don't want to accept the proposal,
Gotta run to the bathroom really quick. Are you serious?
it happens.
When someone asks you to marry them, you race.
Well,
up
I've
to the
never been in that situation, but yeah.
No, wait. I want to be sure that we get this. So you say if someone proposes to you at the holidays and you have family around, to avoid embarrassment, you should say yes,
You should
regardless.
say yes.
You don't want to humiliate your
Ladies,
partner.
I love you so much. Seriously.
I mean, look, if this is someone who you've already engaged with romantically, you have a relationship established, I hope, if they're popping the question in front of your family, you don't want to humiliate them in front of everyone.
Because that might be something they can't come back from.
Yeah.
Whereas if you say yes, and then later on that evening or when you get back to your house, say,
Just
hey, we
kidding.
need to talk about this because I'm not really sure that I'm ready to get married next month or even next year. But I appreciate this. Let's talk through it. Let's maybe if we can't work through our issues, let's go see a therapist and make sure that we're on the right track with premarital counseling. Or
Either way with that, if you don't want to marry that person, if you say yes or you say no, you're going to be miserable for the whole holiday.
Okay, word to the wise, just do not propose at Christmas in front of the whole dang family.
Unless you've discussed that is something you're ready for.
We are both big on preventative counseling. So, I mean, I think all of this can be avoided. I would not advise anyone to propose in front of a big group of people if you haven't already talked about that with your significant other. You want to make sure you're on the same page, because that's
all
a
for
big question.
passion and like letting the movement kind of come through you. But then you need to expect that if it's spontaneous, you might get a spontaneous no.
Okay, moving on from these awkward proposal moments. How
I'm thinking about the baseball games where it happens, where you see the girl just run.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what about the scenario where you go home with your partner, spouse, or potential spouse, but they really don't like your family, and they're sort of pulling you aside, complaining about your mom, complaining about your siblings. How do you handle a situation like that?
So I think that during the holidays, and probably because you're spending so much time with your family, people get a little sensitive. I encourage people to, suck it up a little bit during the holidays, especially if this is some of the only time you get to spend with all of your family. You want to be supportive to your partner. There are always going to be people that do things that irritate you or you don't like, and I just encourage people to take a collective deep breath, try to self-soothe. You can't change other people. You can only change your reactions.
How do you do that, though? You pull your partner aside and you say, listen, you may not like my mom, but she is my mom, so chill.
There needs to be a level of respect for that status. And if you're planning on something long-term with this person, you really are probably going to be engaging with their family much more often and forever. So you want to kind of make sure that you're toning it down and thinking more about the big picture.
Right. Not for similarities, not differences with family. I think that's a good way to help.
What about for folks that are married and their mother-in-law or father-in-law just does something every single time that just gets under your skin?
Take a walk.
There's
cool outside.
There's a technique of avoiding.
Winter time.
No, I mean, I think that you can gently confront the behavior. If it's really getting under your skin, if it's happening over and over again, you want to use I statements to say, this is how I feel when you do this. And we were talking before about finding a replacement behavior for them.
Is it better for you to go directly to your mother-in-law or your father-in-law, or
I think we would agree?
I have your spouse
but
intervene?
Maybe in the morning versus in the evening after all the drinks have flowed. So you can really be thoughtful and everyone's in a more relaxed place. Also, make sure that it's a one-on-one conversation. If you want your partner to be a witness to it, let them be a witness to it, but they're not the go-between.
Right. In therapy, we call that triangulation, where you're pulling in someone else to buffer the anxiety between two people. You don't want to do that.
No war across the table.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about people who may have been in a relationship for a few years. I mean, so holiday time, again, there's a lot of pressure. Let's say Jennifer and I have been together for 3 or 4 years. Are the holidays, is that a good time to either, A, break up, or B, finally get engaged and commit and move forward?
I don't really like using the holidays as like a measure to a time to like change a behavior. Some people need that, but I think you have to make those decisions and initiate change when it feels right for you or for your relationship.
In other words, don't put more pressure just because of the time of year. That doesn't really make sense. But you can use that time to have your relationship grow more. You can use that relationship to kind of spread your wings and meet other people in the families if they're important to you, or if you created your own family with friends and, Friendsgiving, that sort of thing. You can do all of that and use it as a time to catapult your relationship forward to the next level, but it doesn't have to be the level.
Right. Yeah, because if something goes badly around the holidays, and it just seems like every year on Thanksgiving, I remember being dumped on Thanksgiving, and
I can't believe you were dumped on
Thanksgiving. I'm just saying, like, you don't want it to become an unhappy memory.
Right.
I think that if there's already stress or tension in the relationships, the holidays can definitely exacerbate that. So I think that's what a lot of people feel. I encourage people, if you're making a big decision like ending a relationship, especially if it's one that's gone on for like 4 years, as you were saying, you want to be sure about that decision. Try to, let the calm settle again before you ultimately make that call.
It's really a pressure cooker. I mean, we're all indoors for an extended amount of time. There's alcohol, there's food, there's kids running around. It's a pressure cooker.
Okay, so we're going to keep our pressure cooker conversation going. You do want to stick around. They're staying with us. We're going to, maybe if you do want to break up during the holidays, how to do it when we come back.